Hello, everyone. So in the previous lab 4, I talked about the pedestrian library in Vissim. So I'm just opening the lab 4, the second file. Then I can just explain you about the previous labs first, and then we are ready to move to lab 5. So yeah, so basically this was the pedestrian library in that I taught you in lab 4. So we can see there are 3 different ways of using pedestrians in the Vissim environment. So if I just run it, then maybe you can just remember what I am talking about. Okay. So yeah, you can see the pedestrians are moving from left to right, and these are the 3 ways. So in this lab, which is lab 5, I just stop this, close it, and I just open lab 4, the completed file, the first one. So we are using the same concepts that I shared you in the previous lab to do the public transportation. So yeah, basically this is our main file and our main project that we have been dealing with from the first lab. So I want to teach you the public transportation library in this session. So we can see here 2 options for public transportation. I'm just so you can see the public transportation stops and public transportation lines. So these are 2 options that we have here for public transportation. So I want to add 1 stop here and 1 route for our public transport. So firstly, I click on the public transportation stop, and then, for example, here I can, yeah, I think here is good. So I just hold Control and right click, drag and drop. So yeah, so we can see a window here that shows us the length or the boarding passengers and base data. So the length, I just defined it as 20 meter. And then the boarding passengers, I right click and press add. So now we have some specification, for example, the volume and starting time or the public transportation lines. So I just press OK for now. So we can see we have a stop for the public transportation. So now in some countries, we have another short lane for public transportation stops. So for example, if I right click here and then press on create lay by stop, you can see this is a difference. So this is the first one, the first option, and this is the second option. So sometimes we have, this is basically depends on the configuration of our network, or for some stations or stops we have this kind of pattern for public transportation stops, but for sometimes we, for example, in Toronto, we usually have the first pattern or the first bus stop, right? So it depends on the road configuration or the volume, traffic volumes, and lots of parameters. So for now, I just choose this, the second one, which is the more complicated one. Okay, so now we need to again right click and then press add platform edge left or right, because this is we want to add a platform to right. So this is the platform that we added to the right, and then I'm gonna just duplicate it and then add a waiting area here. Now I just right click on the first one and we can see a window. Sorry, I just double click on the first one and then we can see a window with some specifications. So you press on the public transport and elevators, and here we can see we use this pedestrian area for platform edge, and this is public transportation stop number 1 that we call it, and we are good. So I'm just pressing OK. Now for the second area that I added, just double click and then we can see the pedestrian area. This is number 2, right? Again, I click on the pedestrian public transport and elevators, and here I change it to waiting area. And the public transport stops is also number 1. So also we have some different parameters, for example, boarding location and waiting area for elevator group or waiting behavior. I just leave these things for now. Just press OK. Now I want to add a pedestrian area which I can generate the pedestrian inside it. Okay, so I go to the pedestrian library here and press the areas. Here, hold Control again. We want to create an area. Make sure these areas has some overlap. So this is the pedestrian area number 3, and the usage is not, because we want to use this pedestrian area for generating the pedestrians. Okay. Now, just make sure you have some overlap. For example, we have some overlap, if you see, between these 2 areas, the platform and the waiting area, and also we have some overlap between, because pedestrians wants to move from these areas to another area, right? Okay, so now I should add the pedestrian inputs here in this area. So I explained this, how to add pedestrian inputs in the previous labs. Here we have the volumes for the pedestrian, for these pedestrian inputs. If you see these volumes, I want to change it to, for example, 500. And also the pedestrian compositions that we just use the default specification for that. Now, I want to add also a pedestrian route. So basically from this location, pedestrians are just moving to the waiting area, right? And they wait here in the waiting area, the blue area, for the bus. So when bus arrives here, they can just go. And okay, so I think I need another pedestrian routes for the people who wants to move from the platform to this space. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so for now, we are fine with the areas. We have platform waiting areas and an area for entering or exiting the pedestrians. Now, one more thing here is the public transport lines. So, for example, I want to add a line here. So I just right click, control and right click. So it starts from here, starting point. For example, this is a public transport which starts from this point to an end this point, right? So we can see again a window with some specification here. So starting on linked dairy road and vehicle type is, we have different vehicle type, but this is bus, right? So I just bus, and distribution speed for this vehicle is 16, for example. And also just leave these things. You can change the color as well if you want to do so. Now go to the departure times. We want to specify some departure times for this bus. And here I just select the generate start times. So our simulation here starts from 0 seconds to 3,600, right? So I want to determine each and every 100 seconds. For example, we should have a bus for the passengers. So here I just determine the rate 100 seconds, and it begins from 0 and ends to the end of the simulation time. And each time the passengers are, for example, the number of passengers is 10 per vehicle. And press OK. And you can see here the departure time is 37, and the occupied, the number of people inside the bus is 10 every time. And also these are the departure time. It starts from 0, 100, 200, 300, and so on. So I press OK. Now we can see, if I just click on the public transport lines here, we can see these public transport is not including this stop. So what I do is I just press on public transport line and then come here, hold control, and then just right click. So you can see a point here. Just move. Now I need to move this point. Hold the point and then just move it here. Okay. So you can see the bus now comes to the bus stop and then just leave. Okay. Now, if you see here, I just click on the public transport line and show list. So you can see here we have in show list the line stops. We have one stops here. Oh, okay, so this is not active. So I need to press here to active, or I can just go on this green area and right click and then press edit PT line 1, PT1, PT stop 1, pass 1. So if I click on it, so you can see a window, and we need to activate this bus stop. So I activate it, and then I can set a minimum time for the bus to, this is dual time for the bus. So I just, for example, determine 5 seconds plus minus some variation, and also the late boarding possible, which is if the pedestrians just come, so the bus waits for some time to just boarding those pedestrians, and then press OK. Okay, now one more thing, I guess, is let's check it out, again the public transport lines that we have. I think that should be fine for now. Just run the simulation, then see. Okay, so see the pedestrians are coming to the waiting area here, and they are waiting here in the waiting area for the bus. So bus should arrive every 100 seconds. So yeah, bus arrives and pedestrians are just boarding. So okay, so if I show you the 3D, maybe that's better. I just run again the simulation. Okay, I need to, maybe it's a bit fast. I need to make the simulation slower. Run the simulation and then just press on 3D, so you can see the. Oh, okay, what happened on the 3D shape? It's very slow. So yeah, we can see the pedestrians which are waiting here in waiting areas, the blue area, right? So they are generating from the green area, so randomly, and they are waiting here to board, right? So yeah, it's 100. So we need to see public transport soon. Yeah, the bus is just arriving, and some people's, it's around 10 peoples are leaving that we define. And these peoples in waiting area, they are just go inside the bus. So again, here, after 200 seconds, we need to see another bus. So if I just, yeah, from here. So in 200 seconds, another bus should be generated from here. Yes, you see the bus. So the bus comes and arrives here, and the people just get on the bus, and after that the bus just leaving. I just stop the simulation for now and then comes to this. So now, for example, I want to add, this is a public transportation line, right? So it has many stops, as many as we can imagine, right? So I can just add another, for example, bus stop here. So 2 stops. How can we have 2 stops? So again, you need to go to the public transport stop, and here you need to add another 1, 2, and then the boarding pass, we need to just add the 1 and press OK. And now you need to double click. You need to do what you did for the first station. Now here, right click and add platform on edge, and here duplicate and change it to the waiting area. So here you need to be careful. You need to change this option for the public transport stop number 2. So instead of 1, it's 2, right? And again, we have an area for the pedestrians to be generated. So this area, we don't need to change anything here. And now go to the pedestrian input. Here I need to put some inputs. Again, this is, for example, 300 volume and the pedestrian route. I need to determine the pedestrian route, and then one route is from platform to this area. Okay. Now, how do you find, how can you know about this stop, whether this stop is being included for this public transport line or not? Because this is the transport line. Okay. Now you need to change another option here, because right now, if we run the model, let's run it, just run it, the model, then you can see what happened. Okay, bus arrives to the bus stop and boarding and onboarding people. And then we expect to see this bus just stop here, right? Again. But bus is just, passing from this. So what's the problem here? The problem is we didn't determine the bus should stop in this bus stop. So for that, you need to, again, click on public transport line, and here you need to hold Control and right click so you can see a point here. Just move this point from there to here. Now the question is whether will the bus stops here or not? Let's see. Again, okay, so see, the bus is coming here, but it doesn't stop, and even this bus didn't stop here in the bus stop 1. Okay, so I just stop the simulation and I want to see what happened here. Okay, I click on the public transport lines and then here click on show list. Now here you can see right now for the line stops, we have just one line stops, and this is here. Okay, so the problem is we want both stops, okay, in here. So we need to add here. So how? Once again, if you see the routes for this bus, these routes didn't include the this bus stop. Okay, so I just right click on it and then move it here. Right click here and then move it here. So I do it at the same time. Now we should see the bus stops, the bus comes here and then comes here, but the bus won't stop because as long as these areas are green, it means that these are not active. So we need to come here and then check this box. This is 0. I need to check this box and check this box. So these are now active. You can see these are red areas, right? Okay, so now if I click here on the public transport lines and then come here, click on it, you can see there are 2 stops, stop 1 and stop 2, right? Okay, now I want to run the simulation to see. Yeah, change it to 3D. So bus arrives in the first station, the first stops. So the peoples are exiting the bus, and then this bus, the same one, comes to the second stop. And there are some people on boarding and some people just board. And then bus moves. Okay. Now, if you have, for example, some locations that you don't have these areas, these this lane, basically. You need to just remove this lane and change this bus stop to the right lane. So I just do it here for this one. So I press on bus stop and I just move the bus stop here, press continue, and just I want to delete this one, right? And then we need to change and move these things to the right of edge of this lane. Now, if we see, press on the line, you can see the bus will stop here, which is a red area, and then this area is green. So we need to activate this area. Press on, sorry. Here, right click, and then edit. Here you need to active, and then the minimum, for example, is 5. Press OK. Now, if you click on this area, you can see both of these stops are red. So the bus will stop both. Let's see. Okay, bus arrives in the first stop. And then see, bus is just stop in the right lane. Just move it. Okay, and so yes, so this is one point. This is public transport, how to design the bus stop and the transport line. And one more thing that I want to mention in this lab is basically I want to do some aesthetic work here. I want to add a 3D static object here. So to do that, I will press on the 3D object and then come here and right click. Now here you need to select open directory of default map, and here the pedestrians. Maybe I need to find it. Sometimes it's different in different versions. So these are the objects. For example, this is transit stop here that you can see. I want to add this 3D shape here. Okay, so for now I just press OK. So you can see this object is here, but I want to right now, if I see the 3D, you can see we need to do some rotation. So I just double click on it again. Okay, the yaw rate, I need to change the angle here to maybe 118. Okay, now, okay, a bit better. 220. Okay. 230. Okay, it's almost, I think, good. Let's see. Yes, so you can see the nice 3D. So you can also do lots of these using these 3D models, because you can add, for example, you can create these buildings or even the trees. So you can do these things using these static 3D models, but this is just for these are additional work. So you don't need to do these things, but these are like I told you about the pavement marking here. For example, these are pavement mark, right? So these are just aesthetic things, and you can, it looks more nice, you know, when you add these things into your model. So here, for example, I just want to run the model to see how it looks. So the bus comes to the stops, and we don't have right now. Okay, if you see the passenger, it's just so it's they don't they just neglect these objects here. So we can add another thing here, which is the obstacle. So if I add the obstacle, I just click on obstacle, and here I want, it's the same as area, but the pedestrians just avoid kind of, they don't cross. Now if I run, the pedestrian should not go through these 3D objects. Yes, you see, pedestrians are just so this guy previously just crossing from, but right now it doesn't. Okay, for the even the seat, we can do more things. Maybe I need to do this. And then once again, yeah, this guy is just, now it's better. They just don't go through these 3D objects. So yeah, these are the things that you can do. Or even the waiting area, I want to, for example, all the peoples are waiting here in these areas, the blue areas. So I just increase the volume here to, I run the model again. So you see the peoples are coming to the waiting area, and they are waiting for the bus, right? And bus comes here, and they are just, the bus, this is boarding. And now I want to, for example, all the peoples are, I want to decrease this waiting area size. So I just double click on it, and here you can see that, okay. Okay, now I want to decrease the waiting area size. To do that, you need also to include another area here, because pedestrians, once they are just coming out from the bus, they need to cross, right? Okay, what happened here? Okay, so the thing that we need to do here is okay. Now, once the passengers are just exiting from the bus, they should cross the area, right, from this platform to the green one. So this area just guarantee. Now these guys should come and wait here. Yeah, so these peoples are trying to kind of wait here because we kind of decreases the size of waiting area. So these are the things that you can do also in the Vissim. Yeah, so okay, so this is all about the public transportation. There is also more about the public transport, but that's fine. And these are all from my side about the public transport. Now I want to use the rest of time to explain you about some remaining stuff about, these are not remaining stuff, just to improve the networks. So how, what should we do to improve the network, basically? So, okay, I want to just click on a link and then move this link to here. Now, if you press on conflict areas, you can see the conflict areas as yellow light zones. You can see here that we have some conflict areas here. These are fines. These conflict areas that, for example, for merging or diverging, these are fines. But these conflict areas, look at here, these are issues, and we need to solve these issues. So what you should do is press on link and then just move this link. We should not have overlap between these two links, and here also. Now, if I click on conflict area, you can see there is not any yellow zones there anymore. Now, here you can see another area that we need to improve it. Okay. Yeah, so it's solved. So I am just seeing the whole network, and there is a conflict area here, which is fine because it's at merging or diverging. So, okay, in terms of conflict areas, we are fine in terms of that issue and problem, but we still have some issues for the priority rule. So, for example, here, if you see here, we need to define these priority rules. For example, for true movements, just double click on it. And here we need to define. So the true movements has the priority because this is the major roads, right? Eastbound to westbound. But for the northbound, so this is because the local road this direction. So we need to define the priority for the east and west. So this is now green, and the true movement is for the northbound is red. Okay, for this one, the true movement has the priority, right? Okay, not this one, this one. Okay, now for this one, which one has the priority? So this is basically maybe these two, we never face this kind of conflicts because we have a traffic light here and here as well. We don't need to define this one, but still, because this is the main road, so the priority is for this direction, right? So this one has the priority for true movement, the true movement, and okay, these ones, the priority is for, it's a bit difficult to say the priority for this one because this is not pretty straightforward, but this one, the priority is for true movement. And here, the priority is for true movement again. This one, the priority is for true movement. This one, the priority is for true movement. And this one is priority for true movement. Okay, I think should be fine for now. And here, for example, the priority again is for true movements. So let's run the model to see whether vehicles are crossing on top of each other or not. Yeah, for the term project, as it mentions in the PDFs, the pedestrian library and also the public transportation is kind of optional. So you may want to consider these things or not. So you can see right now the vehicles, we are kind of happy with the, okay, so this, if you see this line, the vehicles didn't pay attention to these traffic lights. So the problem, as I mentioned previously, is we need to extend this link, because the vehicles which is generated from here should have a bit time to decide and to stop here. So right now, I think it should, this problem is solved. I just, okay. Okay. So we saw a vehicle which is generated from here. This is another problem that I just double click on it, and then these should be pedestrians, the vehicle composition, right? Now, the vehicle composition should be pedestrians. Now, the vehicle should not be generated from here. So these are the things that you need to do one more time this solving the problems at the end of your simulation, you need to improve a lot. So these are the things basically you need to just look at. If you want to invisible something, for example, the conflict areas, you need to just come here, click on it, and then, okay. For example, I want to also invisible these things, and also invisible the vehicle routing. Where is the vehicle routing here? And I want also to invisible the links. Okay, right now, if I click here, you can see the links are invisible. So this is basically the Google map or Google image that we have. So vehicles are moving in the reality, in the real world. We can see the vehicles are not going on top of each other because we determine the conflict areas. So this vehicle, look at this vehicle, this is just waiting here for the pedestrians to pass. So okay, so I just visible these objects again because we need these objects. Vehicle routes, and I think that's fine. And also for this vehicle routing, you can do some nice thing. You need to move these things here and here so that we just see one line. These are just make your model look nicer. Okay, so, and also for the vehicle routing, I can just put the vehicle routing decision in the first. And this one, the first. Okay. If I run the model, okay, so let's see. So something happened in the model that I need to fix that. Okay, so the problem, I guess, is here. I go to the vehicle route. So just run it again. So the vehicle route 2.3 is not completed. So I go to the vehicle route and then show list static. Here, this is the vehicle route number 2, and we have 3 decision here. So first one is this one, which is, I think, okay, where is the first one? The first one is this one, I guess, fine. The second one is fine, and the third one is not correct. If you see, there is some, so this is not connected to here. So what I need to do is the vehicle. So this one I need to drag and just drop here. So you can see the yellow road now is determined. So I just, again, run the model, and then you should be fine. Okay, so this okay, so this is the network that we built over these 5 labs. So we built the network, we built the uh, vehicle inputs, vehicle road decisions. We determine also we did something in conflict areas, and in the traffic signals, we did the signal scheduling, signal timing, and also in the pedestrian libraries, we added these pedestrians areas here for public transport. So these are the things that we did. I think, I guess you enjoyed, I hope you enjoyed this lab series. So we have lab 6, but the lab 6 is not for teaching, it's just for question and answer. Hope you enjoyed these labs, and I should say now, I think that's almost 1 hour, and I should say thank you, and I will see you in during those question and answers on Tuesday and also Friday. Okay, thank you guys. See you next. Bye.